All right, this week, rational expressions. We're going to start out with multiplying and dividing. And we did simplifying a couple weeks ago, so that's still part of this. We're still going to simplify things as much as we possibly can. But now we're going to multiply and divide this week. So a couple of things before we get started. Multiply and divide is going to be just like you've always done, except of course the expressions are going to become a little more complicated. And you have to think of things in quantities. So if you look at this first problem here, number 1, you have your numerators that are going to be multiplied together. So that's going to give you 15. And your denominators are going to be multiplied together, which is going to give you 28. Now, if you could simplify that fraction, you would simplify it. But looking at the factors right now, we know that none of those are going to factor because we've already seen the factors. So how does that translate to this problem? Well, you're going to do exactly the same thing. Numerator times numerator, denominator times denominator. Now look at your denominators. They are going to be binomials. So when you multiply those together, you're going to have to get FOIL. And then you would simplify them just like you always would if there's something that could simplify. So numerator times numerator. So we're going to do 2 times the x. That's going to give me 2x. Denominator times denominator, which would give me x minus 4 times x plus 1. So then numerator's done. Denominator, FOIL, you're going to get x squared minus 3x minus 4. Nothing simplifies, so that would be the end result answer for that particular problem. Now moving forward here, if we were to go to problem number 2, not going to work this one, but the big key concept here is that if you have a whole number, you consider that as a fraction and put it over 1. We've talked about that before. So you would multiply numerator times numerator, denominator times denominator. Of course, one of the denominators is going to be 1, so you're going to get exactly the same thing. Same thing is going to be true when you have an expression over 1. All right, now dividing. Remember, when you are dividing fractions, what we're going to do is use the reciprocal and multiply. So here, you're going to end up with 2/3 times 8 over 1. Use the reciprocal of the second term. Then, just like you did, it now becomes a multiplication problem. 2 times 8 is 16. 3 times 1 is 3. Looking at the other type over here, again, you think of these as expressions. So this fraction is going to stay exactly the same. 2x plus 4 over x plus 3 multiplied by x minus 2 over 5. Now in the numerator, when you multiply those two together, it's FOIL. So you're going to have 2x squared. The outer gives you a minus 4x. The inner gives you a plus 4x, so that's going to give you 0. And then 4 times 2, which is your last term, will give you 8. In the denominator, you're going to multiply these things together, you get 5x plus 15. Now, can you simplify? Well, on the top you see there's a common factor of 2, so we could rewrite that as 2 times x squared minus 4. That's now a difference of 2 squares, so we could factor that if we need to. Down here we're going to factor out a 5. And since a difference of 2 squares are going to be conjugates, x plus 2, x minus 2, nothing's going to simplify. So you could consider this your final answer. All right, so on this worksheet, trying to give you an easier type problem that's going to be followed by one that's a little bit more complicated and has expressions in it. So good luck on that. And then I'll post another worksheet tomorrow that will be a little bit more challenging. Good luck.